I'm not really so sure this was the internet's best idea. I mean, someone, literally anyone, had to have enough power to say, this was not going to work. What's going on, everybody? Today, I want to talk to you guys about NFTs. If you have not heard of them before, that is non-fungible tokens. Now, the idea behind a non-fungible token is that it is non-replicatable digital ownership of an asset held on the blockchain by a series of numbers proving that you have specific ownership of that digital asset. These digital assets range from photos to videos, even audio files that are being held on this blockchain. To really dig in, we want to understand where NFTs came from and what the goal was from the very beginning. The first NFT of all time came in the summer of 2014 when two digital artists took a design they named Quantum, sold it between each other for $4. That same NFT was not ready to be minted yet because the technology simply did not exist. The blockchain was not there. It took until October of the following year for that technology to completely catch up before it was able to be minted onto the blockchain. Fast forward to October 2015, we see the first NFT project, Ethereum, showcased in London at the original Ethereum Developers Conference. What was crazy was that Ethereum was only around for the last 3 months and they were already having a developers conference. What we saw with that NFT project was 457 hexagonal tiles being sold. Unfortunately, most of them went unsold in that first time, sitting pretty much dormant for 5.5 years. Fast forward to 2021, ends up selling all of the tiles as the market starts booming for a total of $1.4 million. But the question here is really, what drove that NFT market to pick up that general excitement? It didn't have it when it first came out. What led it 5.5 years after its very creation to be so exciting to the general public? In 2017, CryptoKitties really helped publicize the idea of NFTs by making NFT cat cards and selling those into the public. While we can't pinpoint the exact measurement of what led to that growth, it's really obvious to assume that that came from digital influencers, content creators, people that are on the website, people like Gary Vee, Logan Paul, Mr. Beast, finding new avenues to draw in their audiences and help them feel part of an exclusive club by selling them these NFTs, pushing incredibly hard that NFTs are the future, NFTs are the way, getting them into an exclusive community where they could be part of something that only NFT holders were. It just so happened to lead perfectly in tune with the pandemic. Unfortunately, with all the sad that came from the pandemic, people were looking for these online communities to get the fulfillment that they were not getting while they were stuck at home. This kind of was the perfect symbiotic relationship where people were able to have those exclusive communities, join in, be a part of something bigger. That leads us to the question of why NFTs? What are the pros behind NFTs? What's really interesting is that blockchain technology. Using that unique identifier that is digitally tracked to the NFT, we are able to prove ownership or validate it with a certificate of authenticity. This allowed people to say, I own this digital asset. And there was a lot of hype in the community for digital ownership of assets. There is scarcity that falls into play with that digital asset, and to be one of the owners was very exciting. Additionally, this opportunity for the utility coming from larger companies that have something to offer. Beyond companies, even individual content creators, exclusives where you can meet with them, have one-on-one, have time with that individual. That is the utility that came from offering this NFT to either individuals that are buying them or even seeing companies such as Pepsi or Coca-Cola that are offering them as a reward for engaging with part of their content. We looked at the pros, now we have to look at the cons. And what we see is one of the biggest cons overall might be one of the reasons that the NFT market started to disintegrate. That being the replication of that asset. While we are able, using blockchain technology, to show who owns or the proof of authenticity of that digital asset, it's not enough to stop the replication. And what we mean by that is the replication of taking a screenshot, using that picture. What we see a lot of times on the internet is this idea of people that are taking that, not crediting the creator or not even crediting where it originally came from, and using it. Most of the people on the receiving end or the end users don't necessarily care who is the individual owner. They care about the consumption of content. Another tricky thing is the legal enforcement of who owns these digital assets. There are very few, if any, regulations around the blockchain, so being able to say that just having that identifier on the blockchain, that unique string tied directly to that digital asset, that wasn't quite enough to be able to say, this is mine, I have the copyright, I own the intellectual property. And it caused a little bit of a gray area for anybody that was willing to invest those big sums of money into a digital asset. We also see this struggle of sustained interest. And what we mean by that is how interested can people be in just the exclusivity of the membership. It's all about how much content you can create. But if it's just about the membership, we already see things just like that happening on Discord, on YouTube, on any of these social platforms where we're really able to create communities and feed them exactly what they're looking for. I would say first and foremost, though, the biggest challenge with NFTs is simply the volatility and the price setting. We see so many NFTs that range anywhere from 1 Ethereum or 1 Bitcoin all the way up to hundreds, if not thousands of Bitcoin and Ethereum. When we convert that over to the US dollar, that is millions and millions of dollars that we're talking about here. The challenge here is that we're not really sure what that scarcity looks like because of the idea that we brought up earlier with the easily replicatable nature. Do we want the ownership? Do we need the ownership? What is that price point at of owning the digital asset when you know there can be a JPEG or a picture taken and used very similar to what you have going for you while owning the NFT? Here we are sitting currently present day 2022. NFT sales have declined 92% year over year. When we look at the amount of digital wallets that have closed since November of last year, we're sitting at 88% closure. That's absolutely crazy. And that leaves us with people that have invested life savings into this idea of NFTs are the future. We see the biggest one happening with the original tweet from Jack Dorsey. He sold that last year at an auction for $2.4 million. Now, while that sounds like a lot, the individual who bought it put it on sale for $48 million. Now, while that seems like a massive jump, what's really crazy is the amount of loss that was taken on that purchase. While it was listed for $48 million, it actually received a bid of $280. $280. 99% decrease in value of the asset. That's incredibly astounding. What is the future of NFTs? And while all of this is speculative, what we can say is that there is still an associated value in the utility of the NFT through companies that are able to offer something in return for purchasing that. Pre-releases, voting rights, trying new flavors, trying new things before they're open to the general public. That can be the reason why people would want an NFT today. That utility is what it seems like the NFT was created for and where it seems like a lot of these companies are still pushing. It takes it beyond the idea of a JPEG, beyond the idea of just exclusive ownership, where you can now validate who you say you are in a more simplified way, getting the intended return. There you have it. NFTs in a nutshell. Are they great? Are they not? Nobody really knows for sure, but what we can say is while there has been a lot of ups and downs, we do see that volatility coming back strong with companies. You might end up finding yourself in the possession of an NFT in the future and not even know it.